Hey y'all, Coach in the Fight here, and in today's video, we're coming out of Ezra chapter 3. Now, a friend of mine tried to share this video with me in the wee hours of the morning, and I, a little bit groggy and, of course, dealing with them boogies, didn't actually pay attention too much. But I had already hatched a plan to look at it, and decided to go ahead and do a video on it, Abba willing. And that's what we're going to do. We're going to step down through here like we used to do, verse by verse, just letting our Father inspire us on something he would have us to learn here in this chapter. This is Ezra chapter 3. We're coming out of the King James Version. Let's go ahead with verse 1. It says, "And when the 7th month was come, and the children of Israel were in the cities, the people gathered themselves together as one man to Jerusalem." Now, this is Ezra, and as you know, Ezra is part of those who are turning back towards Jerusalem in every aspect of the word, rebuilding, including the people. Sarala did have them actually getting correct too. And so this is what he means by they're rising up as one people, meaning they're getting unified in their understanding of things. They're in the city. It says, "And stood up Jeshua, the son of Jozadak, and his brethren, the priests, and Zerubbabel, the son of Shealtiel, and his brethren, and builded the altar of the God of Israel to offer burnt offerings thereon, as it is written in the law of Moses, the man of God." Now, what he's talking about, let me go over there and show you what he's talking about as it was written in the law. We'll go back to Exodus chapter 20, which is the beginning of the book of the covenant. The covenant itself is 4 chapters long. Starts with the 10 commandments, as you see there. But then when you get down past the 10 commandments, and get back when the people has told Moses that he will have to speak for us. You see down there in verse 24, it says, "And an altar of earth thou shalt make unto me, and shalt sacrifice thereon thy burnt offerings, and thy peace offerings, thy sheep, and thine oxen. In all places where I record my name, I will come unto thee, and I will bless thee." And we give all praises and honor to our Creator for his word, and how we can jump over here and get this understanding where it's talking about this altar. The purpose of the altar in modern day language is to get rid of the waste products, the stuff that we don't necessarily want to eat. And you could imagine if you are slaughtering these animals and you don't have a proper place to dispose of the waste products, how the place could get a little bit messy and even a little bit smelly. Well, that's what the altar is for, to actually burn those things up. The fat and the blood is actually what the altar is for, to burn the fat and the blood. But anyway, you see it there written in the covenant, and that's what it's talking about. So let's go back to Ezra 3 and finish our study here. If you don't mind, will you go ahead and hit the like button? Just in case you forget to do so at the end of the video. You can share the video. This is going to be a relatively important video. I've already perused what it says. Verse 3 says, "And they set the altar upon his bases, for fear was upon them because of the people of those countries. And they offered burnt offerings thereon unto the Lord, even burnt offerings morning and evening." Now, this is important to understand, that they are making these offerings. Now, for those of you who haven't been lied to, for lack of a better word, An offering, again, is just the waste product. See, when you have something to offer people, like you're going to have a banquet or or some type of dinner party or anything like that, you're offering your food. You're making a sacrifice. Even if you go out and buy a box of chicken, you have now sacrificed something that you have. And that's what it's talking about here. It's talking about festivals and where they're actually having a barbecue every day. But this makes it sound like they did this because they were in fear of those around them, and they started making these offerings every day. But again, you go back up to verse 3, you'll see they're in the 7th month, and that's important to this story because, there's a certain time that they're making these offerings, morning and evening. Again, the offerings are really about eating. And, so they're having the breakfast offering and a dinner offering, no doubt, so that people have something to eat, particularly the priests and the Levites who would be otherwise taking care of the temple. You basically having a barbecue, a community barbecue, to make sure everybody gets something to eat and enough to eat, no doubt. Verse 4 says, they kept also the Feast of Tabernacles, as it is written, and offered the daily burnt offering by number according to the custom, as the duty of every day required. Now, again, you have the duty as every day required. So let's go back to the books of Moses. We'll go to Leviticus this time. Go to Leviticus 23 and look at what it says about the Feast of Tabernacles and what it is that we're supposed to be doing. Y'all continue to pray for us here at the Hillbilly Homestead, especially as we get ready for these feast days, and those that will be coming to join us, that they'll have a pleasant time here. Well, we're scrolling down through here, through the statutes. And that's important to understand that Leviticus 23 is the place where you find out about all of the mandatory feast days, all 7 of the feast days. You have other ones like Passover and Memorial blowing of trumpets in there. But let's start right here in verse 34. It says, speaking to the children of Israel, saying, in the 15th day of the 7th month shall be the Feast of Tabernacles for 7 days unto the Lord. On the first day shall be a holy convocation, and ye shall do no servile work therein. 7 days ye shall offer an offering made by fire unto the Lord. On the 8th day shall be a holy convocation unto you, and ye shall offer an offering made by fire unto the Lord. It is a solemn assembly, and ye shall do no servile work therein. So that's what it's talking about over here, where it says according to the custom, as the duty of every day required. So we're required to have an offering every day for the entire feast. Again, this is so somebody can have something to eat. When you start living out these festivals and you don't do them correctly, you start to notice when you have hungry people around, wondering what's going on. But anyway, verse 5 says, and afterward offer the continual burnt offering, both of the new moons and of all the set feasts of the Lord that were consecrated, and everyone that willingly offered a freewill offering unto the Lord. Okay, so this is the continual burnt offering here. Again, and talking about, what's all going on the altar there. Verse 6 says, from the first day of the 7th month began they to offer burnt offerings unto the Lord, but the foundation of the temple of the Lord was not yet laid. Now, this is a very important verse for at least 3 reasons that I came up with just that quick. One is that the temple of the Lord, the foundations of the temple of the Lord was not yet laid, but yet they were making these offerings and these sacrifices, because a lot of people will be quick to say that we are not required or even shouldn't do these offerings and sacrifices because we don't have a temple. Not remembering this verse, but they're also forgetting the fact that Moses didn't have a place to sacrifice. Abraham didn't have a tabernacle or a temple. Even Abel didn't have even attempt to make his sacrifices in, because it wasn't required. That three-dimensional part wasn't required, but eating is. And so even though we don't have a building to centralize all of this stuff, it was necessary to eat during these festivals. They are feast days nonetheless. And so noticing that from the first day of the 7th month began they to offer these offerings. Now, this is important to understand because, they're going to have a barbecue or some type of offering from the first day on, and then during the week of Tabernacles, they're going to be barbecuing during that time. So the altar would be very useful during, the first half of the month, or maybe even most of the month. Verse 7 says, they gave money also unto the masons and the carpenters, and meat and drink and oil unto them of Zidon and to them of Tyre, to bring cedar trees from Lebanon to see Joppa, according to the grant that they had of Cyrus the king. Now, one of the things as I was reading this, it reminded me of a class we did not too long ago, breaking down the syllables of these particular words, like Tyre, Zidon. These aren't just names. When you look at them in the Hebrew, the pure language, the original pre-exilic Hebrew with the pre-exilic meanings, even according to Psalms 119, you can start to see that these are hidden messages. These names aren't names, they're actually hidden messages behind the people groups that they're talking about. And you could actually really figure them out if you break them down. And I haven't done so. I'm just pointing that out. But anyway, we don't want to get too far away from the message here. And that is how we're making these offerings at the beginning of the month. Now, I haven't really done it this way before. And because maybe, and so, but I appreciate my friend, my sister in Christ, for showing me this, because I would actually have the opportunity to do it myself. I even got an early video out, so you guys can prepare to do so yourself, being ready to go through this 10 days of awe, these first 10 days of the month, actually doing them a little bit more correctly, as we are afflicting our souls. We're actually having a sacrifice, maybe even feeding the community and that kind of thing. But we'll talk about that more as we get closer to the festival days. Make sure you're subscribed so that any videos that we put out before then, and Father willing, we will be ready to start putting out more videos come time for the festival days. So make sure you're subscribed. But go ahead and hit that like button if you haven't done so already. And leave us a comment on anything we can work on, any questions you have, or any statements, anything you could add to the discussion. Put them down in the comment section, and I'll see you down there. Shalom.